that the brain is going to have the areas that's going to determine, well, if you take my class, the way that I term it, we'll have an area of our brain that is primitive. It's going to take care of a lot of the stuff that I don't have to worry about my body doing, okay? Blood gases, ion concentration, breathing rate, heart rate, blood pressure. But then I'm going to have the areas of my brain, the things that we think of when we hear brain, okay? That's higher order thinking. So, the axons that are going to be there. Why is it important that from the time of egg meeting sperm and fertilization occurs and implantation takes place, that you need to be stimulating that offspring? And when they're born, you need to continue to stimulate that offspring for years. Why is it important? The more neurons you can stimulate in that offspring, the smarter they're going to be. The more support cells they're going to develop. So when I say from the time of implantation, I mean that. When they're born, they need to have all types of stimulus. Sight, sound, taste, touch, feel, okay? Because the brain, if those neurons are firing, we do coding. Now, you hear that term now, coding, you're probably thinking of what happens when somebody might be writing a program for a computer. Yes, no, maybe? Even though, and don't get me wrong, I have seen some stuff coming up with artificial intelligence that's a little kind of damn right freaky and spooky. Okay? But for the most part, alright, the computers in no way compare to what can happen in the coding of the brain. The firing of these neurons, we pass along information that is both quantitative and qualitative. What's the difference between the two?
Quantitative is more, I guess kind of like the information that we want is kind of like quantitative,
Quality. The quality of something. Are we seeing the colors? Are we seeing the shapes? Are we putting together smells to taste and everything else? Okay? So quantitative means just that. It's a number. Okay? The quantity of something. We store each one differently. The brain codes for it differently, which I'll get into more in part 2. Now, we can store information by recruiting more neurons, i.e., the stimulus to the young brain. The stimulus to the young brain, maybe I should say, teaching the neurons to work occurs at the greatest rate in the first 5 years of life. Doesn't mean that it stops, okay? It's just that by this point in time, your head is the size it's going to be for the rest of your life, all right? But up to that point, things are growing very quickly, and children can learn very quickly. They're like little sponges. Okay? Now, then we can have memory, information, how we carry out procedures based on how many times have I made that neuron fire. How many of y'all remember learning how to walk? No. Okay? But do you do it? It's a procedure that your brain got exposed to over and over and over and over. And it learned how to make these actions based on the mistakes that happen. Meaning the falling down. I'm convinced that's why the diapers have so much padding. Alright? I mean, think about it. So we organize information. It doesn't matter what we're doing. If we're learning a procedure, if we're learning how to write, if we're learning how to talk, if we're learning how to walk, information is constant within the nervous system. And so we're going to say that we can have pathways, these circuits that exist. They can either be convergent, divergent, or reverberating. This one right here is one of my favorites, the reverberating, because it looks like, oh boy, I got some stimulus and it's coming in and it goes round, comes in, goes round. It's a never-ending circle. This is what takes place for stuff that we're pretty much not paying attention to. For example, studying our breathing rate. Okay? That's something our body is getting constant information about. Those neurons pretty much never stop, okay, till death. And they continue to put out the responses that hopefully we need. Now, if something is convergent, there's a whole bunch of something meeting into one area. Think of our 9564 ramps. Whew! Don't know who invented those, but man, I like to have talk with them. Okay? Now, a bunch of stuff converges to one neuron. When it's convergent, okay, this is what's happening when we do something such as reading. When we read, okay, think about everything that's going on around you. You've got light, you've got sound, you've got heat, okay, and it's converging on that one neuron. Well, let's say that while you read, you also have some music playing in the background. The next time you hear that music, you kind of think about what you might have been reading. Yeah. Because the brain made a connection there. It's really cool how well that works. Okay? Not saying you need to do that for anatomy and physiology, but just saying. Okay? And the best music to have playing while you're studying is classical music. Just a little snippet of information there. Divergent. You've got one that spreads out to a line. Okay? And when we look at this is where we are going to find an example of divergent. Think about how a smell brings about several different memories. You might remember Grandma's house, the pie she was cooking, the smell of it and everything. All right? From that one stimulus. So it's really cool. You're going to learn more about that in part 2. When we talk about memory, pretty much I'm at the point now where the only thing I have is media. Okay? Unfortunately, I don't even have short-term memory anymore, and my long-term, that went out the window a long time ago. Okay? But we hold memory in different ways. Meaning, this is our creating of information. Immediate. I'm only going to hold that information for a second. Pretty much anything I'm told. Okay? I'm like the best person to tell something because I'm not going to remember it past a few steps. Okay? But let's say something like, you look up a phone number to dial. You only hold that number for a few seconds while you dial the number. Alright? Pretty much now we all just talk to our phone and tell it to call whoever or whatever. Okay, I don't remember a number anymore. I used to be a walking phone book. Now, I don't even know my husband's number. I gotta look that up. Hold on just a second. Short-term memory. This is something that will work up to a few hours. Maybe, with the short-term memory, it's something that's working. So it might be a lab procedure that we could do here in lab. Like maybe we're going to dissect an animal. Well, it only takes a little bit of information passing between synapses. Because see, that's what happens. When you make the synapse fire, and it fires onto the next synapse, that is when the coding occurs. Well, what if you want something to become long-term? What if you want to make sure that you understand the sodium-potassium pumps? How do you get to turn that into long-term memory? I gotta have repetition. What needs to come along with that? Not only do I need to maybe see it a lot, I need to hear it. Maybe I need to read it. Maybe I need to watch a video. And here's another thing you gotta do. You gotta go to sleep. What? You got to go to sleep. Why? That is when processing gets to occur. That is when any information that I need to hear, that I need to know, can make connections. So the best thing I can tell you before your test on Thursday, get a good night's rest. Don't sit up all night, pull into all-nighter. Don't. Just the best thing you can do is get your sleep.
Go figure, right?